Hi, Astha. Like before we begin this episode, I want to ask you one question. Okay.
Okay.
What do you think are the three values or things or ideas that
Mm-hmm.
our audience or viewers, like we'll be putting it in a podcast and also in YouTube. What are
Mm-hmm.
three things that you think the people will be watching or listening will be getting from this 30 minutes discussion or session?
Okay. So I feel that first thing they will realize or understand, connect with your emotions, how to connect with their emotions, and how to accept it in the first place, because that's always the first step.
Yeah.
And second is how to make better use of those feelings. That would
Mm.
be the second takeaway. And third would be how to apply it in daily life to to get more in control of your emotions, and also how you can, make your life better while also adding value to the world. So that would be the third takeaway.
Wow. Wow.
I
So
think this is what they would learn.
I love the third one the most, where they can make use of it and also create something beautiful to make this world better. Like what an opportunity
Yeah,
that we have to
that's
see
that's true.
making world better through our work or
Yes.
whatever. That to emotions, right? From
Exactly.
yeah,
Something that is so common and everyone feels it, and
yeah,
so strange that people actually have to that's one thing that a lot of people are very disconnected from. So that
mm,
is definitely, it's amazing if everyone gets in control of it and makes the most of what they're feeling at the moment. I
yeah,
feel it'll just change how the world functions. So yeah.
yeah. I think that is what has happened with this book. You understood your emotions
Oh yeah.
and you kind of uh, like you cannot put uh, the emotions in the form of art, poetry. So now
Mhm.
it has definitely added value to my life, and
Yeah.
it's okay to feel this way. A book bios, I've read somewhere the comment somebody has told it's a hug. This is not a book
Yes.
but a hug. And I would like to add one more thing. It's a non-judgmental listener that I've got, in the form of book.
Beautiful.
Whenever I
Yeah.
go through some challenging emotions, I pick this book and read it, and it has really helped me. Thank you so much for this book, which is definitely making my life better.
Wow.
Hopefully, make this world much more better in future. And welcome, Astha.
Thank you.
Astha Anand. This, like I'm so happy, proud, honored to host you as my
Yeah.
first guest to this creator series interviews. So you are an empathetic writer, and I've met you. I've spoken to you many times. I really love your intentions. Why do you write? You want more people to read.
Yeah.
So I've heard you saying, not just heard you saying things, but I've also seen and experienced how you were part of my book journey. So
Yeah.
that's why I thought having you as my first guest will be the best start that I can give for this series. So thanks
Mm.
for being here, and I'd love to introduce you to the people like who are
Definitely.
seeing or listening. So Asta is an IT professional in her daily undertaking, a reader from the heart, and a writer from the soul. Drawing from personal experiences, Asta tries to capture the beauty and complexity of human emotions through art. Which is very important for our this conversation, that where complexity of human emotions through art. Which is the foundational idea why we are doing this, which will
Yeah.
ensure you ponder over their facets for a while. So this is about Asta's introduction. She has written 4 books and been part of many anthologies. And so, yeah, welcome, Asta.
Thank you so much, Rudresh. It feels really good to hear all this, especially because the purpose of the book was to, help everyone who feels this way, and it's lovely to even even if one person connects with it, and thankfully I feel very grateful that I'm getting a lot of people who are reaching out to me and telling me that it has been an amazing experience reading the book and it has helped them in so many ways. Like you said, they feel like there's a friend with them, and
Yeah.
that was the intention of the book. So
Yeah.
it really feels amazing. And what I love about it is that I'm getting to interact with people who have the book,
Yeah.
and the book has touched their life in some way or the other. So yeah,
Absolutely.
couldn't be more grateful for it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, like thanks for writing it. And I should also talk about my book, as a host of the
Sure.
so this is a book
Yes.
written by me, like Blooming Chaotically, the journey of rising in love. So like basically this also has an element of how art helped me to heal myself. So yeah, maybe, but it's about your show today, so I want you to speak more
But I
about
would
it.
want to add a couple of things about your book so that, just for everyone to know, I have gone through your book multiple times
Wow.
in various stages, right? So what I feel and what I really appreciate about your writing and your book is it's not the straightforward, usual form of poetry. What I love about it is that it really feels like it's a separate language that you're speaking, which
Wow.
is very unique to you.
Mm.
And that is something which is very rare nowadays, because I know there are a lot of people, a lot of budding writers. And what I feel is very important is when people read a piece of work, they should relate it to the author, right? You have your own voice, you have your own method of writing. So
Yeah.
that is what I really appreciate, because I'm seeing that even post the book, whatever you have posted or whatever you write in your day to day, whatever inspires you, I've seen that format, and now I've come to connect this kind of language or this kind of poetry flow with you. So that is
Wow.
what I think is a great achievement, and I would really urge everyone to read your book, because again, it's very inspiring. Also with the fact that you've had this entire journey with your emotions, and ultimately about what I've written is more generic and what you've written is more specific to one kind of emotion,
Yeah.
but the fabric of it is pretty much the same. So that is something which would definitely inspire a lot of people. So
Yeah.
thanks for writing that as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Like we have done a lot of marketing, then adding value.
You can start. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, like it was great, listening from Asta about my book. Thank you so much for that. Okay, Asta, like what is emotion for you in your own words, in your experience?
Mhm.
What is emotions for you? Like, how do you define, or like what is coming to your mind when I ask you that question? What is emotion to you?
It's just your the way you feel every minute of the day. I mean, everyone is not consciously looking out for how they're feeling, or sitting and actually analyzing how they feel at every minute of the day. But ultimately, emotions are nothing but what you are feeling, or your current state of mind, the current whatever is influencing you, whatever is going on around you, how that impacts the way you feel is what emotions mean to me. So
Oh,
that I mean, it's not like a very technical definition, but this
yeah.
is what my interpretation of it will be. So yeah, that's what I feel about emotions.
Okay. And since with this session is all about discussion is all about deconstruction of emotions through art. So
Yeah.
like what is art for you again? Like,
Yeah. Art is something I really struggle with defining, because
yeah,
it is so open for interpretation. Because the minute
absolutely.
a lot of people, and even I believe that art is something which is everyone's own, because even if the artist is making something, right, um, is the audience, the way the audience receives it is never in the artist's control, to be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, very
and
true.
and when you think of art like that, it is never something you can define. So according to me, what I feel, at least if I'll try to put it in some kind of words, would be art is nothing but expressing your emotions. So it's just
Wow.
a channel, or kind of a way to put that out. What you feel inside is now displayed either on paper or on whatever mode of your
Yeah.
whatever channel of your art is.
Yeah.
So that is what I would feel. And there's a quote. I have read this quote really, really long ago. I don't even remember. I think when I was in college, I came across this. I don't know who wrote it, but it went something like, art is never supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's supposed to make you feel something.
Yeah.
And if it makes you feel something, I mean, there's a lot of art out there which, not like I wouldn't say that I'm an expert or anything of that sort, but a lot of art is just good to look at. That is a different category of art, maybe.
Yeah.
But then there is a whole section where you can really connect with it. And
Yeah.
what I feel is the minute you connect with a piece of work, that is art. So that is what I would suggest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a beautiful definition. Like I really loved it. So and I would like to add few words. Like because what I've been experiencing is like I'm a poet because I am getting some time to write poems, publish it,
Mhm.
read it. But in a way, I feel creative, but it's not that only specific humans are creators or like
Yeah,
they are creative. I think the human default essence is creation, and we
exactly.
all have that creator or artist essence within us. It's just that we have to give
Absolutely.
some time and create it, like, and how you beautifully told simplified the art is expressing our emotions, like now everyone can be an artist or creators. So it,
Yeah,
it doesn't have
absolutely.
to be going in museum, or it doesn't have to be in a book.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the idea is, can we express ourselves through some colors or words or music or
Yeah.
some songs? That's what would really make art, I guess. Like so I would urge everybody who's listening, like it is not defined, like we are basically artists and creators. So yeah. And
Yes.
how did this idea of connecting art and emotions, like you, where did that idea start? Like can you speak about it for a minute, then like a little bit about the connection between art and emotions? I think we have been speaking,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so yeah, you can add a little bit
Yeah.
around
So,
it.
yeah, I think pretty much whatever we have talked about till now basically is the connection between art and emotions
Yeah.
because it's the form of expression.
Yeah.
But what I also think is, which may be slightly an unpopular opinion, but I feel like art first belongs to yourself.
Wow.
If you are able to connect with your emotions, your art, and I say this in the same sentence because I feel emotions and art is something that you already hold inside you very truly. Like you said, you're
Yeah.
already an artist and already a creator by
Yeah.
default. It is just that maybe it is not looked at as a skill set because you're
Yeah.
not, an expert in it. But honestly speaking, even when someone cooks, you're creating something, right?
Mhm.
So its basic life skills also are creative and
Yeah.
artistic in nature. So yeah, so my whole idea is that art first belongs to you, and the day you begin writing or dancing or cooking or drawing for audience, for other people, yes, you are putting your art out there, but you first have to be connected with your art form at the basic level.
Yeah.
If you are not, then that connect with the audience itself will not get established. And
Wow.
this is something I have learned from
Mhm.
experience, because
Yeah.
the first time I had put something out was very personal to me, and it was not very well polished or things
Mm.
like that. And of course it was personal to me, but it was not very sorted in the sense that I could not connect with it 100%. It was just
Mm.
something that I had put out there, right?
Okay.
um, Even though it was personal, it was just put out there. It was not well thought of. It was not really processed
Mm.
properly. So when you put something like that out there, it doesn't really reach anyone because no one connects with it. They're reading their words. In my case, it was poetry. So you read the words, but it doesn't, connect with you. It makes no sense
Yeah.
per se.
Yeah.
But the minute I started realizing that I'm utilizing this to actually process myself first,
Mm.
put your first work out there and then go through it, think about it. What is it that, I am feeling and what I can put through my art out there and how it can help people. So the minute I felt more connected with my art form, I saw it making more sense for everyone else. And
Yeah.
that's where the relatability factor comes
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is one major thing, and that is the one biggest connect between art and emotions, because emotion is something you feel, art is something you create.
Mm.
Unless these two are connected, which is through expression and through processing, sitting with it for a while, you cannot really, put it out there and reach to people, is what I
Yeah.
feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, like as somebody who's going to be creating, I really loved this, like the idea, how you put it, that we should feel connect first within art, whatever create. then we
Yes.
can put it out. That's where people will feel relatable.
Right.
And not to talk about more about the book, but I really feel every poem that I read, it's more relatable. I can feel,
Wow.
connect it. Like, there are poems that sound very personal that you have written for
Yeah.
yourself, but I can sense the connection, like,
Yeah.
I can feel that.
Mm.
So, and also, for the audience, like, the idea of we creating this is, this art is available for everybody, everybody, maybe mother, or like who's working in a factory, or anyone who's listening to it. they're they sit and create something. The idea is
Exactly.
not just only people who can put their work in museum or book. It's just normal humans create something to express their emotions, so feel better. So whatever you can capture inspires us. Please, create something. That's the whole idea of doing this discussion.
Yeah.
So yeah. And Asta, like, uh how art has helped you to accept your emotions, like, how often do you feel strong emotions that,
Mm.
like, for me, strong emotions are, sometimes I feel bliss, like,
Mm-hmm.
beyond, I feel happiness beyond threshold, like, I feel,
Yeah.
oh, I'm feeling happiness so much that I can't take anymore, that's the level of
Right.
happiness that I feel.
Right.
That's a strong emotion. And also sometimes I feel emotions which make me feel go on my knees, like, I've cried many
Yeah.
times, like, I've felt ashamed of myself many times.
Mm-hmm.
These are the emotions which makes me feel very uncomfortable, and makes me feel, like, I can't tell this to anyone outside,
Mm.
oh, I am doing something wrong, I'm feeling something wrong. So these are the
Yeah.
kind of spectrum of emotions that I feel. How often do you feel these kind of emotions, like, yeah, that's a question, like, do you also
Okay.
feel like me?
Yeah, I mean, I've written a whole book out of it, so of
Yeah,
course I feel it.
yeah,
So, I mean, if you look at it from that's the beauty of human emotions. You have an entire range, which I can also, always connect this to, the, what do you call it, a spectrum of colors that
yeah,
you would have heard of. Like when you look at a rainbow thing, right?
yeah,
Even though there are seven colors, but when you look at a spectrum that way, all the shades of every possible color is part of your light spectrum, correct?
mm,
So that's your entire range. And you can imagine how many colors and shades can come from there if you start looking at it
yeah,
in that manner. So for me, that's what the range of human emotions can be. It starts
mm,
from, like you said, brings you to your knees till the point where you're feeling overwhelmed with the immense joy that you feel.
yeah,
So, yeah, of course, I feel a range of emotions every day. And I think I always say this, and you would have read this somewhere, I guess, that it's always a boon and a bane to feel too much. Because when you
yeah,
feel good, it is just like, there's no way to describe it. It's so amazing. And then when you're feeling low, there is no way to describe it. It's the worst thing in the world.
yeah,
So and the best part is you don't even have to experience everything. When I read something of someone else, or if I look at someone going through something, or if a friend is sharing something with me, I feel very connected to the situation, because I feel like my emotional range is that way. I mean, personally speaking, I
mm,
feel like I can really understand what they're going through. And so that also helps me. Probably this is what empathy means, right? You
mm,
kind of put yourself in their shoes, and you're able to understand what they're going through, every human in this world. So I do feel, and the problem is that I feel a lot.
yeah,
And that's where the need for art comes in.
yeah,
So yeah, yeah. I mean, your question was the entirety of what we feel, right?
yeah,
So it's a day, and the kind of life that we are living right now, with the world, the state of affairs in the world, it is a tough time to exist, to be honest.
yeah,
I mean, because so much is changing. We are literally in the middle of, I feel, and especially the generation that we are all in, I feel
yeah,
like we have seen so much transition in
yeah,
various ways, which
yeah,
kind of impacts you in ways that you wouldn't even realize. Uh,
exactly,
so yeah,
absolutely,
I mean, it's a day-to-day thing you will experience. The only thing is, if you don't get time to really sit and think about it, how things are impacting you, you're just going on with your day-to-day life, and then one day it will hit you all together.
yeah,
If you really take time every day, then you can, process it easier. So yeah,
yeah,
that's what I feel. Mm.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like this kind of keeps happening. I also feel
Yeah.
so. In a day, I go through everything. Some days,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel wow, the day is so good.
Yeah.
Sitting and enjoying the breeze is so good. Then like I start working. Like I have to achieve this. Then I keep using mobile phone to do this. Then
Right.
like I feel lost, and I sometimes I feel get irritated. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like these colors I'm experiencing, like yeah, I can
Exactly.
totally and I love the point that you brought out, that
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that we sit and process these emotions.
Yeah.
Like I think the best part being a writer
Mm.
is that I'm able to sit with my emotions,
Mm.
express it, and I've read my poems 8 times. Like one
Yeah.
poems I've read 8 times. So that means like I sat with my emotions 7 to 8 times. What is happening? What happened?
Mm.
How it has impacted my life? Why? Like so that I got to know about myself very
Exactly.
deeply. Like I
Yeah.
think now I'm a person of more awareness.
Mm.
So, like, I think the differentiator factor for me is time. Like,
Right.
beyond anything, like, I can add many things,
Yeah.
but without time, I wouldn't have been able to, do these things, create, process, make right decisions.
Right.
Thanks you so much for bringing out the time. Like that's our request, I think, from Asta and our side. Like please make some time to sit with your emotions. Like we
Yes,
will
and
we'll talk
absolutely.
more.
And one point there is like when you talk about writers, right? I will
Yeah,
just take this out specifically because we are talking about creators. So when you talk about writers, right, a lot of times what happens is you don't feel that you're being productive if you're
yeah,
just sitting with your thoughts.
yeah,
With us, what happens is every time you sit with, when someone's writing, every time you sit with a thought and a paper and a pen and trying to write something, or you're typing on your notepad, you're expecting some outcome out of it. You sit
yeah,
with that intention that I want to create something out of this time that I'm spending. But it's not necessary that every time that happens. And most
yeah,
of the times, what happens is we beat ourselves about it.
yeah,
Like, I sat with it, I spent 30 minutes and nothing came out of it. Or I wrote something which I'm not happy with. But the point is the entire time that you spend thinking and processing your emotions, in whether you're doing it for a storyline or whether you're doing it with your own experience or whether you're doing it for a piece of work that you are revising, like you said, you 8 times you read your own poem, right? So when you're doing this, right, even this process helps you understand better.
yeah,
So it's very important for writers and creators to understand that every sitting that you sit with your art doesn't necessarily have to yield some kind of result right away. It is something that you will see down the line, that session actually helped you create something maybe 2 weeks down the line,
yeah,
because now you are so free of what you were, what's jumbled and what's stuffed in your head, and you kind of have been able to smoothen that out, and
yeah,
now you're able to be more creative and process it better.
yeah, absolutely. I
So
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Like I sometimes sit whole day, write very one paragraph or something. It's not happening. But what do you say for like people who are not into creative space? Like
Hmm.
even coding is engineer, like creative thing.
Yeah,
Like
it is
everything is
absolutely.
like creative thing. So
Hmm.
like, but how people can take this? Like what do you say for normal people? What I
Yeah,
mean by normal people is like
people
painters
who
and
don't channel into art, right?
yeah,
That's what
like
you're
yeah,
saying.
like
Okay.
what would you suggest them? Like
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll get a little technical here. So this is something which I came up with when I was researching a lot and trying to, observe patterns. I do these kind of things a lot.
uh,
So when I was trying to observe certain patterns within myself and the people around me, what I realized is ultimately for the human brain to quiet down is close to impossible, because you're
mm,
constantly thinking about something or the other, right? So when you are talking about processing emotions, ultimately what it means is that you need time to slow down. You
oh,
need time to slow down. You should have minimal distractions,
mm,
and you should be able to concentrate and connect with yourself. I'm going absolute basic.
mm,
Okay. So if you are able to concentrate, Okay, that means your mental health is still okay. The minute you realize you're not able to um, hold your attention span, you're not able to sit without doing anything or without a distraction, that means there is some chaos happening in your head.
Mm.
So, for people who are not channeling into art forms, the best and the easiest way to do this would be any kind of meditation, because that helps you slow down your mind, right? Your focus in one place.
Mm.
That could come with reading, that could come with actual meditation, that could come with praying. Sometimes you can just sit and focus and pray on like one thing. It can come with exercising, because
Mm.
you are kind of focused on one thing. That's the whole idea. So when you take time out to do these little activities, even cooking helps in that
Yeah.
case, because you are meditating, your brain is focused on one thing, you've slowed down, you're not letting other things influence your thought process at that moment.
Yeah.
So these are little things which are not something that is like an external hobby or something,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
are literally picking this up uh, to slow your mind down for 30 minutes. And if even if like I've just named 4 or 5 activities, there can be way more,
Yeah.
right? And that everyone can identify for themselves, because priority should be, I think, in 24 hours, if you can just take 30 minutes out to sit down and not do anything.
Mm.
Just take 30 minutes to slow your brain. Don't try not to look at your phone, try not to look at your work
Yeah.
stuff, try not to talk to people, just 30 minutes with yourself. If you can figure that out, you'll know what you enjoy doing in
Yeah.
those 30 minutes, and that is enough for your brain to process everything that it's going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Like, yeah, to add one more
Yeah, sure.
example for that is when I feel like totally uncontrolled, like
Mm-hmm.
so I've been through, like I've been in dark room, like emotionally
Yes.
where I felt uncomfortable. Those times
Mm-hmm.
I've written poems, but like normally what I do is when I feel very uncontrolled, like my mind is scattered, I'm not able to sit somewhere. I keep my phone at my home, then I go for walk, like
Mm-hmm.
I spend, like what I do is I just go for walk for 30 minutes and I see the trees and the fresh air.
Yeah.
And like that really helps me to calm myself down, and
Yeah.
so that I can come back and do whatever is required, after some time.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm
That is in fact the best way, because that's the most recommended way of, fixing your whenever you feel overwhelmed or whenever you feel overworked. I think the easiest way to do is to connect with nature, because
yeah.
that's the most natural way to get your control back for your emotions.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what like people can do, like I mean not
absolutely.
necessarily walking. See what you like and
Yeah, exactly.
reduce the distraction, and definitely please keep your phone away so whenever you
Yeah,
feel very
that's
uncontrolled.
absolutely very
And
important.
yeah,
Even
and
if you are, what I also have tried, and this is something when you kind of get a block, a creative block, and you
yeah.
don't really have anything that you can think of. What can I do creatively, or how can I, channel this whatever anxiety or overwhelming sensation that I'm feeling? Sometimes what only you can, the basic thing that works is take a piece of paper, take a
Mm.
pen, and just start scribbling.
Oh god, yeah.
Okay, so when you do that, what I feel is even if you're just scribbling, right, like children, yeah, I mean, just see the background of it,
Yeah.
right? So when you look at that, it kind of, it's not even like translating into anything, but
Yeah.
I feel like something comes loose in your brain, and it
Yeah.
kind of, settles down, and you kind of take all your overwhelming sensation out on paper, and you still, feel much better. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is as basic as that gets. Like you can
Yeah.
just take a piece of paper and start like scribbling on it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think one takeaway that people should do is like my most favorite is also scribbling, like I
Yes,
do it when I feel like some chaos in my mind. I just go and scribble on my diary, and
absolutely.
it has helped people. You can try it out and let us know, thank us
Yes.
later. Do scribbling and it would definitely help. It's an art again, that's how
Yeah, I
I
mean,
feel
of
you
course,
can
you can
put in.
call it art, but
Yeah,
because you see, doodling and all this is what part of,
yeah,
uh, you
yeah,
know, scribbling itself. But yeah, I wouldn't, what happens is when you give it the name of art, it becomes a little
yeah,
heavier than,
yeah,
and people would think of it that way. But I would just say that it's as basic as just scribbling on
yeah,
paper. So you
yeah,
can just go ahead and do that because art always feels like has to have some meaning.
yeah,
This doesn't really have to have any meaning. You can just go ahead and
yeah,
ruin that sheet of
yeah. Express your emotions
yeah,
through
exactly.
the
Just
scribbling.
express yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And so how art has helped you in healing, so I would love, if you can read some poems also from
Yes,
that.
absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah, like I would like you to speak a little bit about it, then also you can read some poems which
Yeah.
how art has, with related to healing and art.
No,
So
of course.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, art is everything to me when it comes to healing and connecting with self. So I used to read when I was a child. I started reading at a very young age. And I feel like that is one of the best things that has ever happened to me in my life is picking up a book.
Mm,
And why I would say that is kind of made me realize that through characters, because it's a very impressionable age when you are really young. When you read characters and you read stories, it kind of helps you believe in a lot of things that the world wouldn't let you otherwise. So, kind of builds a home inside of you.
mm,
I mean, and that is something which um, helps a lot because again it'll go back to the same thing I said. To heal, the first thing is to do is to connect with yourself,
yeah,
because if you don't connect with yourself, there's no acceptance of
yeah,
what you're feeling. And the minute you accept it, then comes the next step of how to make it better or how to heal or how to fix it.
yeah,
But if you don't accept it in the first place, there is really little scope of doing anything with it or going anywhere with it. So what I feel is art helped me connect with myself in the first place,
yeah,
which is where I started realizing that um, which I mean, over the years, it has just helped me make a safe space for myself,
yeah,
in my own world where you don't need a lot of people, you don't need a lot of things around you.
yeah,
You don't need anything other than maybe a make-believe story or just, an imaginary space, something like that, which kind of makes me feel powerful because everything in that world is in my control.
yeah,
It's based on my imagination. So that's
yeah,
just a way of thinking for my brain since I was a child. That helps. And similarly, that's the reason I would say when I started writing, I felt like, that is again one method of saying it out loud, whatever you're
mm,
thinking or whatever you're feeling. If you just say it out loud, it helps because
yeah,
it automatically, if you realize this also, if you're overthinking, a lot of people do that. So when we are overthinking unknowingly also, the minute you actually say it out loud, right, the value decreases, if you have
yeah,
noticed that, right? So I feel like when I share it with someone, or even if I say it out loud in like when I'm alone, right, if I just say it and I hear it back, it just I mean it doesn't seem such a big problem after
yeah,
that, right? It
yeah,
just feels like something you can tackle. It feels
yeah,
okay.
mm,
So that is also one thing I realized when I was writing, when I started writing, because it felt like I'm saying those things to myself, and that helped me a lot. So, and that's where I realized that this is what everyone can do. And I
yeah,
think a lot of people also suggest journaling,
yeah,
which is similar to this, right? Because you're basically just writing down how you're feeling. You don't have to really make sense in that. You don't have to, make up sentences or words and make it look very
yeah,
flowery. It is just something you are literally just putting everything out on paper. That's it.
yeah,
So that's why I say that, art can heal, and art can heal because, and when you look at drawings, paintings, artistic stuff like that, to that
yeah.
level, even dancing, because there's something called movement therapy, which,
Oh God, yeah,
so when you move, you are literally expressing yourself. And that
yeah,
is, again, a beautiful form of expression.
yeah,
Uh, so many things are there that you can do, right, to express yourself. And what is it at the base of it? If you look at it, it's basically connecting to yourself, to connecting to your inner core. Unless that happens, you cannot heal. So
yeah,
that is the baseline of this. Art
yeah,
heals because it helps you connect with yourself.
yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely. And also accept our emotions, so
absolutely.
yeah. And yeah, like I would like to add something, like because
Sure.
I get excited because art in
Oh,
me
of
is,
course. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. So what I've really felt is words are very powerful.
Yeah.
And like, so as a man, young man, like I feel a lot of things that I don't feel comfortable. As you told, generation has moved a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
like what I've seen from my parents, like from friends, all those things.
Right.
And when I go and meet somebody else, and what I'm seeing is very
Mm-hmm.
changed world. It needs immediate, like where I feel, oh, I'm not belong to this space, like those things keep happening. But
Yes.
when I'm in my room, like so like I am just okay with, like, I can write it in my words. One is
Mm-hmm.
journaling, I do it. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes words have failed where I
Yeah.
feel scared to write. I don't want somebody else to read it, what I've written. Then what
Yeah.
I do is I paint, like I've created things which I don't want to show people, like I've
Right.
just kept it for myself. So colors are more powerful than words, and especially body. And I
Mm-hmm.
still feel I really want to work on a project where I
Right.
will be expressing my emotions through movement, like I want to go to
Wow.
contemporary dance and learn.
Beautiful.
And there people cannot pursue what I'm trying to tell, but I know
Yeah.
what I'm trying to tell through my moves,
Exactly.
like, so I'm aware of what I'm connecting to
Yes.
my emotions. I'm using dance to express myself,
Express it.
and
Yes.
nothing is suppressed in my system. Everything is coming out. Like I am
Absolutely.
like white color paper. I have nothing
Mm.
that is inside me in my system. So like I feel very free and healed. So
Beautiful.
yeah, like so,
And one more art form just struck me, which is monumental in, when we discuss these things, is musical instruments.
yeah,
When you play musical instruments, it's so beautifully healing, and not just you, it heals everyone around you, because
absolutely.
the music, I mean, music is such a beautiful channel, and such a beautiful art form. It just goes with everything, and it is, I mean, I cannot imagine the world without music. I mean, this
Yeah,
is one kind of art form which I think everyone should have some capacity for.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They can try, like make some time and like
Yeah, I
try
mean,
to.
not just being able to learn. I mean, of course, musicians are amazing, but what I feel like everyone should have a capacity of accepting music as, part of life. Because
Yeah,
if there are people who don't listen to a lot of music, that's okay, of course. But I would say that, everyone should listen to some kind of music, because that helps you, kind of brings people together. I mean, if not
yeah.
anything else, it generates certain things in you which is not really up for interpretation. That is the only art form which you can connect with
Hmm.
other people on, right? Because if it's a romantic song, it is a romantic song, and everyone, it kind of brings together. Everyone feels the same way.
Yeah,
So I love that about music.
yeah. Thanks for adding it. I definitely explore that. Like so that
Sure.
what I've seen is always there's an threshold. Like now
Mm-hmm.
writing is over. Now next I want to go for paint to break that
Mm.
threshold and go next level. Maybe
Right.
music, then dance.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like nice. So would you like to read a few poems? We have,
Yes, of course.
like if you have some time,
Sure, sure, sure. Let me, so that now that you have read my book, and you had such lovely things to say about it,
yeah.
is there any one that you want me to particularly read?
Yeah, I think like healing is one poem that I felt, like I loved it how
Okay.
genuinely and nurturing way it is nudging me to try healing, like it's not
Oh,
pushing me, oh, you should do this,
oh
that.
yes. Oh
It
yes.
is coming from very nurturing space, and still like asking me, can you,
Yeah,
what is, like, why don't you try,
exactly.
I love that. And there are many poems. I've marked all the poems, but we don't
Sure.
have that
I'll
time.
read
Yeah,
Healing for you,
yeah,
and
thank you so much.
then I'll read a couple that I really love as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, here it goes.
yeah.
It's ironic how, for someone who needs to heal, healing sometimes is more painful than the pain itself. To heal, you cannot stay numb. Accepting the pain makes it real, and that's when it hurts the most. But it's the pain that hurts the most, just before it disappears. What scares me, though, is that we sometimes fall in love with the pain and
Hmm.
know of no other way to live. This is why the process of healing seems so foreign. The pain is your comfort. This is one of the most twisted relationships we can ever be in.
Yeah.
But there is so much more on the other side of courage, or so I have heard. What harm is it in knowing? Give it a try. You have mastered struggle anyway. How about struggling for a better life? What can you really lose anymore?
Wow.
Yeah, so this was actually a perspective, because there's a lot of, there was this term which went which is very loosely or very frequently used on social media, called toxic positivity,
Yeah.
where you are literally all the time trying to be, extremely positive, which may not work in daily life, right?
Yeah.
um so what I feel is, like, again, you can't be extremes of anything. You have to realize that people take some time, and they need some kind of logical reasoning as to why, positivity, even when you bring positivity into your life, there has to be a logic behind it. You can't just wake up one day and say, okay, I'm positive today.
Yeah.
It will happen gradually. So now that you have already seen so much in life, you've seen negativity, you've struggled a lot, you feel like it couldn't get any worse, so why can't you just give it a try and see if life can get better,
Yeah.
right? Because anyway, you have nothing more to lose. You have
Yeah.
hit your rock bottom.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the perspective behind this.
Yeah. I love how, like, what scares me though is that we sometimes fall in love with pain, like,
Yep,
I know of no other way to live, like, where we stuck ourselves to the pain itself, that becomes our comfort,
exactly,
but there is a life beyond that. And
exactly.
like, that's what I loved, like, how we can really take a step beyond the pain and try to heal ourselves. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for this beautiful piece, Asa. I loved it. The way you recited it also very soothing.
Yes.
I really enjoyed. And I would like to read one poem from, like, what I was telling,
Sure.
not one poem, but how art really helped me, like, there's one poem called I'm Not Buddha, in which I've written,
Mhm.
actually, these are the poems I wrote after my breakup, and
Mhm.
then I was missing my partner. That's when I wrote this, and it sounds very magical now.
Mhm.
I paint to feel your colors without your presence.
Mhm.
That's a beauty. I could feel my partner presence just by painting.
Yeah.
All I know, like, there are billions of people in the world, but
Mhm.
only my partner could bring the joy or peace to my mind.
Mhm.
And
That's beautiful. Yeah.
art, with art, I paint to feel your colors without your presence somewhere, even though it's not 100%, 1 or
Mhm.
2%, I could feel my partner through art.
Right.
So that's what I liked. And there is one more. Sorry, I told one. I'm reading one more. So I dance to live gracefully since I'm struggling to stand. I was not able to. There's another poem. So I paint to express colorfully since I'm struggling to sit. So I weave garland of words since I'm struggling to speak. So I make a
Mhm.
music out of my weeping since I'm struggling to breathe. Like, I think
Mhm.
I could make all my uncomfortable experiences
Mhm.
little better through this
Right.
form of words, like poetry, dance. And so, yeah, I think that's what, like,
That's
that's
beautiful. Yeah. That's
right, like,
exactly what we've been talking about, right?
yeah, right, like, so it, yeah, like, it's magical, that's what. Yeah. And would you like to read my most favorite poem from this book? Like, then,
Absolutely. Yeah. Please tell me.
like, I think after going through all the breakup and all, what I've seen is I've fallen in love with myself, like, I'm very, like, I've been comfortable with myself all my life,
Yeah.
but after breakup, the connection with myself has gone helter skelter.
Yeah.
Now, after writing all the poems, art healed me, like, I'm
Yeah.
in a better place where I'm again in love with myself. And your
Mhm.
poem, Love, really explains what I am in, the situation that I'm in right now. So you can
Sure.
read that. That
You
would
know
really,
the page number for that?
I think, yeah, like, I know. Yeah, it's 40. Author must be knowing much better.
Page numbers is not something that I would remember. But
Just
yeah.
kidding. Yeah, Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Love. Yes.
So this is my
Um,
favorite poem. People, like, yeah.
wow. Thank you so much. Of all the people I've met in this life that I've lived, my favorite are the ones who taught me why it's important to love your own company. The ones who taught me partners are a bonus if you aim at being everything you want yourself. Everything else will just be by choice and not by compulsion. I doubt people realize how liberating being in love with yourself is. It is even better than being in love.
Wow. These lines are
Yeah.
very powerful,
Thank you so much.
and I love how you put everything else will be. I think art has given me the space to operate out of choice than
Mhm.
compulsion. Now I feel
Thank you.
emotions, needs, and XYZ,
Yeah.
but somewhere it has given me an opportunity to operate out of choice than compulsion.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And I think that is the whole point, right? That's what we've been talking about because art helps you connect with yourself. And
yeah,
the power that you feel when you connect with yourself is like nothing else.
yeah.
So, yeah,
So yeah, so we are ending.
absolutely.
It was wonderful discussion. I really learned a lot in this short time. So anything that since we wanted normal people, normal people in the sense that who are not actually thinking themselves as creative people, what
Yeah.
would you what would you say to, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to diminish the people who are not into art. The
Yeah,
idea
yeah.
is,
No, no, that's okay. I think I got what you're trying to say.
yeah,
It's for
because my
people who don't
friends,
really have creative hobbies,
yeah,
who don't do
because
anything
my
creative. Yeah.
friends keep telling me you're very creative, people who are working as an engineers, you are an artist XYZ, but the point is
Yeah.
everyone are artists, so idea is to remove that boundary that we are all one, we are all creative. So, and
Yeah.
my humble desire is we create something out of our experiences and emotions, so that
Hmm.
we can heal ourselves, we can keep it with ourselves, we don't have to show it to the world,
Yeah.
so that we can keep it very private and still heal, see ourselves, accept ourselves, and make ourselves
Absolutely.
better. Then obviously if all the billion people are happy and peaceful, the world is peaceful, we are living in a peaceful world. So yeah, what are your uh, sharings
Yeah, I
to?
would just say this is something which I wouldn't want everyone to worry about creating as
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
I would like people to just, first discover what they are, who they are,
Mm.
what they like, what they feel, and to do that, like we said, right, talked about, just take 30 minutes of your day, sit with yourself, maybe just before bed if you have some time, because at that time mostly everyone's asleep, it's your own time. So just take 30 minutes, sit with your emotions, write down what you feel, or just think about how you feel, and yeah, and see if that helps you sort things out in your head. And if there are people around you, take their suggestions, in the sense that maybe everyone's not like as patient as you would like them to be with you, because they don't know what's going on in your life, but you can still be a little compassionate. Try to think of why you behave in a certain way in certain situations, and also why the people around you behave certain way towards you in situations. So just
Mm.
think about these things, question yourself, keep questioning yourself. um, the more you connect with yourself, the more compassionate you will become, the more you will be open hearted, and that's where art will creep in, even if you're not connected to art.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just as basic as it can get. So just start there. Even for artists, I think you need to take time, even if you're doing it commercially or you're doing it as a hobby, whatever you're doing it, you need to take time for yourself. Unless you do that, you will not see results.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And maybe in very quickly, I want to add, it's okay to feel this way. Whatever you are feeling, it's
that's
it's
true.
okay. It is one of the
Absolutely.
colors of that spectrum
Of
of,
the spectrum,
yeah,
exactly.
right. And we would keep changing, that colors will
And it's
keep
not
changing.
imaginary.
Yeah,
Everyone at some point in their life would have felt that way. So it's
yeah,
best to reach out and
yeah,
ask for help
yeah,
if you need.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and if you're feeling really very chaotic that you are not able to handle yourself.
Yes,
Better reach out to mental health professionals so that they
absolutely.
can really help you. They are more professionals in that zone,
Yeah.
so they can help you better. So yeah. So yeah, thank you, Asta, like for being here. It was like time flew, like
Yeah.
so.
Thank you
And
so much. It was such a great experience. It's one of the first times I've been on a podcast
yeah,
or in a conversation like this. But it's such an amazing experience. It's such a beautiful topic to talk about. Thank you so much.
yeah, like it's the energy is still alive, like we can
Yeah.
keep on going. But
Thank you.
I love the poems, like
Thank you.
as like the way you recited also, and the things you shared. I hope people can use it. Just doodling, like scribbling is the takeaway for the day from my side, because it's easy. Anybody
Yeah.
can do it anytime. So like, yeah,
Yes.
please let us know what you liked, so that we can work
Yeah, I
better.
would love to
And
hear from people. If you connect with this, let me know, because this is also the first time I'm talking in
yeah,
this manner. If it helps, I will try to, do better.
yeah,
And if there's something that you didn't like, please do let me know. So
yeah,
yeah, we would love
yeah,
to work on that as well.
yeah, we'll do few more in
We'll
future.
do better
Yeah,
if there's anything wrong. Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
Vanessa,
No,
thank you so much for being here, and I'm so happy. You are the first guest to start this creator series. I'm so honored to have you here,
thank you
and
so
I
much
really
for
had
having me as
great
well.
time talking to you and listening to
Yeah,
you and all the poems and everything. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much.